Today is session 4. Session 4 is on technological innovations. I invite Mr. Hank Bruce, the managing director of Pacifical at Netherlands, to moderate this session. I hand over the floor now to him, Mr. Hank Bruce.
Thank you, Api. Our next session will be talking about technology at sea, technology in the air, and technology at land. And if we look at technology at sea, we'll be looking at how is it being used on boats, for example, by the use of buoys, drones, and in the air, satellites. How do we track vessels? In these sessions, we'll also be looking at how we'll be processing tuna at land and which technologies are we using in order to determine the freshness of the material, or how are we more efficiently getting a nice tuna pack into a can. We have a very good lineup of speakers. And I would like to introduce the first speaker, which is Mr. Gabriel Gomez. Gabriel has been a speaker at many previous conferences. He's been the general manager with Marine Instruments since 2013. He has a very international background. He's been for over 18 years living in countries around Europe and Asia. And he returned in 2013 to Spain to, lead this very innovative company. The company has been known for its disruptive technologies in the use of big data, artificial intelligence, building drones, and also it's, of course, been a major supplier of fat boys. The company is awarded several awards for innovation. And today, Gabriel will be talking about how to increase the trust and the transparency in tuna fisheries. So the floor to you, Gabriel.
So thank you very much for the kind presentation, Hank, and also thank you very much, Infofish, for the opportunity to participate today in this conference. Yeah, so I think I need to share my presentation, isn't it? So do you see my presentation?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you then. Yeah. So my idea is to briefly introduce my company for those who don't know Marine Instruments. Don't worry, it will be very short. And then I will move to some of the mega trends that have, I don't know, probably accelerated during the last months, yeah, because of the pandemic. And then finally, how those affect electronic monitoring and transparency in fisheries, and what are the challenges and what are the factors that will affect the introduction of that technology in the following months, in our opinion. Yeah? So Marine Instruments, we are a company established in the area of Vigo, in Igran, in 2003. So this year we will be celebrating our 18th anniversary. And from the very beginning, yeah, we had a very clear focus on marine electronics and on the fishing industry. Yeah, as you mentioned during the presentation, yeah, we are one of the key suppliers of satellite buoys, yeah, for the fishing industry for fats. And we are designing and manufacturing those systems in our facilities in Igran with about 150 people. 60 of those are in R&D. We proud ourselves to manufacture our products in our facility as well. So we have more than 30 workers doing that. And we are part of an international group called Arbulu Group. It's a family-owned company. And all the companies in the group, they share the same theme, which is marine electronics. Yeah. We've been growing in the last years into different areas from those beginnings in satellite buoys, and we have invested heavily in big data, in artificial intelligence, for fisheries, etc. And we share that vision, which is smart oceans or digital oceans, sustainable oceans, And I think this digital transformation, will have an impact, a huge impact on what we will see in the coming years, So when we share this smart oceans vision, there is a number of key enabling technologies that we share and that I will mention throughout my presentation in different points. But I think most of those technologies are known for most of us. We're talking about IoT, Internet of Things and sensors. We're talking about connectivity, which when we're talking about the ocean is satellite broadband, which has changed drastically the way we work on a fishing boat in the last years, and it will change even more in the following years. We're talking about drones. We are one of the leading companies developing drones for tuna fisheries, and actually we presented those technologies in other conferences in the past as well. But what I would like to highlight today is that during the last year, there has been tremendous transformations in our world, and it was a trend that was already there, I think, but has increased in the last months, which is, I think, transparency and traceability. People want to know better, and they want to know more than ever whether the fish they're consuming, where it's coming from, whether it's coming from sustainable practices, whether it's respecting the human rights of the people who are catching it, and all those things that have been talked before and or by other speakers, I think related to that was monitoring and human observer programs and electronic monitoring. Marine Instruments started in this role of electronic monitoring almost a decade ago. I think the first programs we started with were dating back in 2012. And I'm not going to introduce the technology because I think it's already known for most of us, because there is another trend I would like to highlight, which is the digital transformation. And I think this virtual conference it's a very good example of what has happened in the last months. I think if we were told 2 years ago that we will hold this conference in real time from different parts of the world and everybody in this virtual forum, we would probably think we were crazy. Same happened with electronic monitoring. I think the pandemic has shown that there has been lots of problems for moving crews around the world, and of course there has been problems with human observer programs. And so if there were, in my opinion, there were no doubts before the pandemic that electronic monitoring was a reality. But I think in the last months, if somebody had doubts, I think they have been gone, with this digital transformation, this profound digital transformation that we have experienced. So in our case, I think electronic monitoring is a reality. It's here to stay. It's more about how fast it can penetrate in different fisheries. And there's a number of factors that we believe that will affect that speed. The first of all is there has to be a modularity in the technology. Modularity in the sense that we have to have electronic systems that are adaptable enough to the different fisheries and to the different characteristics of the boat. This is a small screenshot of the system that we have been developing in the last years. It's in tight collaboration with our partners from Archipelago, which is called Marine Observe. The system has been in the market for the last 18 months and is highly adaptable to different fisheries, and to different systems. And another particularity is that we need to have systems who are easy to maintain, easy to provide after-sales services. We have a modular system where we can adapt the different PCB boards inside to the different capacities of the fishing vessels, etc. Another key aspect of that it will influence the speed of adoption, in our opinion, is interoperability. Interoperability is actually a very tricky item, but and it's a discussion that in every industry has been there. Are we talking about open systems, or do we want to develop as vendors closed ecosystems where we can only live within our ecosystem. Yeah, and Marine Instruments from the very beginning, we have pushed for interoperability of systems. That means we believe that one of the hurdles for the implementation of electronic monitoring is that most of the systems are not interoperable, in the sense that, I don't know, for instance, if we have a boat where we already placed cameras, and then for whatever reason the customer is not happy with the system for Marine Instruments, or he wants to use the data analysis software from another vendor, at the moment the systems are closed and they cannot be interoperable. And I think this is in the long term, yeah, this is damaging the reputation of EM as an industry itself. And it's also making very difficult to move from a small pilot program into bigger programs. Yeah, so Marine Instruments is participating in this NetGains Alliance, yeah, which is an initiative where different vendors are putting together and sharing some standards in order, for instance, those standards who are not also sources for competitive advantage. Yeah, I think a video codec, or the way we save the GPS data, or the way we share the different sensors, etc. There is no competitive advantage there. Yeah, so we've been always advocating for open standards, open systems, yeah, where the customers can make their decisions, or the administrations, based on the usual things like price, service, reliability, but not forcing a complete closed ecosystem, yeah, that is complicating things for everybody. Yeah, it's basically trying to create artificial monopolies. Second, I think it's an item also that is quite surprising, yeah, for those who know the EM programs that are currently in place. It's quite incredible that in one side we're using very advanced technology, and on the other hand, we are translating the data from the fishing boats to the data analysis centers with a technology that was created 300 years ago, which is POST. And this is not acceptable. Yeah, so we've been working on a cloud architecture for the last years, and especially it has to be an architecture where very soon we'll have 5G systems. There's going to be big disruption in satellite communication, in broadband in the next years as well. And we need to be prepared with cloud architecture in order to move, let's say, wirelessly. And I wouldn't say how, because I don't care whether it's 5G or satellite or other systems, yeah, but we need to move wirelessly the information, let's say, from the fishing boats to the cloud and to the data analysis centers, yeah, without involving physical transportation of those hard drives around the world. Yeah, this is anachronic. This is something that was done 300 years ago, sorry. And finally, and I'm getting closer then to the end of my presentation, yeah, artificial intelligence is going to be also a game changer. It's going to allow for the automatization of many tasks, yeah, that at the moment are being carried out by men, yeah. And so we've been working as well on, within that cloud architecture that I mentioned before, also in generating also the AI engine behind that will allow for different examples. Yeah, one will be based on the GPS tracking data to detect whether there is a fishing set going on or not, or automatic image recognition in order to allow for fish recognition. So the different things, or whether there is a fishing effort being done or not. So those are things that, of course, they're science fiction right now, but they are becoming reality step by step. And the target is that increasingly they have an automated image review and event review in order to allow for efficiencies in the system, yeah, and not having to have data analysts that are looking 24 hours a day to a video stream, yeah, or sensor streams, yeah, in order to make the reports, yeah. So again, yeah, we're working together with our partners from Archipelago and ASTI in Spain in order to develop that ecosystem and those AI tool sets, yeah, that will allow for automatization and process optimizations, yeah, in this event, yeah. And finally, also there is another very important thing, which is we need minimum standards, yeah, and those minimum standards or norms, yeah, will allow also for a speedy adaptation of technology. And when I say standards, people tend to think only on the technical standards, yeah, what I actually mentioned before during my interoperability explanation, yeah, but I'm working here on a complete standard from the program inception, yeah, to the data delivery at the end of the process, yeah. So in our particular case, we are working in Spain and with the Spanish normalization body, UNE, on generating for the first time in the world, I think, yeah, it's an EM norm, yeah. And the working group has been established this year, and we have a very ambitious target to have that standard ready by the end of the year. And we are involving in that standard all the stakeholders, yeah. We are, of course, the industry, the fishing industry, and represented through the different producer associations that we have in Spain, vendors, because in Spain we are lucky that 2 or 3 of the main vendors are coming from Spain, service providers, of course, science and universities, and trade unions, yeah, because EM also has an impact on the privacy and on the working conditions of the fishermen on board, yeah. So the target is to have such a standard for the first time at Spain level, at the Spanish level, at the end of this year. But of course, our target is very ambitious, and it's hopefully that this standard could be modified and adopted and eventually become an ISO standard in the near future. Yeah. So I'm coming to the end of my presentation. I think one last thing is also to thank, and also that EM will. It is a complex, it's not a complex technology, it's a very simple technology, but it's a very complex ecosystem of rules, standards, norms, technology, and that can only happen through strong partnerships. Yeah, we've been working with our partners for the last 10 years, and I would like to thank for that to especially Archipelago and ASTI, who we have strategic alliances with both of them to develop EM, but also for all the different companies that we are collaborating with in the different countries, yeah, because implementation in the field requires a lot of effort from local partners as well, yeah, and of course, customers and the fishermen, which are also listed here, yeah. So that's it, and I'm open for Q&A at the end of the session as well, yeah. Thank you very much.